What is going on, guys? Judo Sloth here, and today our Clash of Clans video is going to focus on the 3-star Town Hall 11 GoWiWi attack. Now this method we're going to be focusing on does utilise the Queen Walk. I know there's a lot of rumours going around about this getting nerfed. Nothing set in stone, so in the meantime, here's how it's done. But just before we start, if anyone is interested in seeing similar style attacks without the Queen Walk, Clash with Ash put out a great video yesterday highlighting just how to do that, and I'll link that in the top right for anyone that hasn't seen it. So getting down to today's raids, we're going to talk about the similarities between them, and the first thing each attacker does is use a Queen Walk to get the Eagle Artillery down. Now, whilst this is taking place, you can utilise your time effectively and open up the different compartments of the base that you're going to need. So you'll see this attacker used wall breakers across the top, the centre and earthquake spells to really open up the base. He's then bringing in most of his witches through the centre along with his Grand Warden. Does have a few of them used at the top alongside the king, and he's sprinkling a few wizards as well just to help with funneling and get a bit extra damage in there. So if we take a look at this now, you'll see we almost have 3 channels of attack. We have the Queen with her healers on the bottom. Then we have the main force of the attack, which is all of them witches inside of the Grand Warden's aura coming straight through the centre. And we also have the king and a few other witches at the top. You'll see a jump spell is then used on that right hand side channel to help the king get into that large compartment. Very compact there, but he's got them witches and wizards right behind him to help reinforce through all that. Moving back to the centre, the Grand Warden's ability has just been pressed to try and help all of them skeletons through the multi-inferno, hopefully get to that mortar as well. You'll see a couple of balloons on the back end trying to distract that wizard tower, because that is the final splash damage defense, and I guess is the only one that is a bit unpredictable in terms of when the troops would actually attack it. So a very nice touch there with them balloons. And there's not many defenses left on the map now, and there are more than enough troops, so it is basically just down to clean up. So looking back, we had the Queen Walk to get the Eagle Artillery, we then had the main force of the attack, which is all of them witches through the middle, and then we had the king and a couple of other witches to reinforce him on the other side, so kind of 3 channels of attack. Used most of his spells to actually carve routes through the base, but he did have 2 rage spells. One of them was used on the Queen Walk when she was under fire from a lot of point defences, and the other was used right in the centre of the core to help boost the production of skeletons, but the 2 rage spells could be interchangeable and used wherever needed. So moving on to another example here, you'll see the Eagle Artillery is certainly not centralised, but does have to do a little bit of work to get to it. Actually starts this attack with a few wall breakers to open up some of the compartments that he's going to attack from later, and you'll see the large compartment at the top. He can pop his queen in and she will just walk right the way around that. Here you'll see another example of using the rage spell to help the queen on her walk, so she's under fire from a lot of defences. By encompassing the queen and the healers within that rage, it helps to keep her health right the way up and doesn't have to use her ability. Now he does want her to go into the base a little bit at this point in order to get that Eagle Artillery, so he uses a couple of wall breakers to encourage her to walk into this large compartment and not right the way around. If we backtrack to where the queen began her walk, you will see that he's opened up the compartment there, and that's quite obvious that he had to wait until the queen walked away so that she didn't go into the base at that point. Decides to use his second rage spell on the queen as well here. That's to help her through the defending Lava Hound, and then you'll see once that Eagle Artillery's down, he can fly his other troops in because it's not even activated. So a clan castle golem followed by all of them witches and the Grand Warden come through the centre. He gets a little bit lucky. I don't think he realised just how close his queen's health was to a big fat 0. Just gets the ability in time. And then you'll see if we just compare this to the first attack, it differs very slightly in that there's 2 single infernos, so the attacker decides to bring all of his witches through the centre here. Still has a 3-channeled attack as we saw in the first example, but on the bottom he just brings the king along with a golem and a couple of wizards to reinforce him there, because he doesn't have as much to take out in this one as he did in the first one, but it is still important that he gets down and takes them defences out at the very south, because it will be very difficult for the skeletons to get through them high hit point storages and to them back end defences. And you will see here the high importance of having them wizards to back him up. For whatever reason, the king decided to go for the wall and had the dark elixir in his sights. I guarantee if I was farming, he would go for every defense bar the dark elixir. But not to worry, the wizards keep him on track. He goes around and he's working his way towards that final archer tower. You'll see the skeletons in the middle are just about to finish off that final inferno tower. Queen is still at full health with her healers on the other side, and again, this base is history. So you'll no doubt have recognised the similarities between them two attacks in terms of setting it up and undertaking it, but also you do have to tweak the plan a little bit depending on the base design. So we'll move on to one final example here and then we'll wrap the video up. So again, you will see here one key thing you want to be looking for when you're scouting bases is that the eagle artillery is off centre and you can get to that with your queen walk. You also need to be thinking about how you're actually going to carve paths through the base in order to create that 3-channeled attack. So opening up the attack, as you have saw in the other examples, we're going to first go after the eagle artillery with the queen walk. And you do need to be keeping an eye on your queen. You'll see she's under a lot of damage here, so that rage spell is needed to keep her up. If you're quite confident that she's safe, you can move on to other things, but just keep an eye over there. So you'll see this attacker starts opening up different parts of the base. Great use of the earthquake spells there to carve a path straight through to the town hall. Queen is slowly making her way over towards the eagle artillery, and one thing to note here is that if you can lure the clan castle with your queen, that's great, but it's not the be all and end all. You will remember the first example that didn't take place, however the second rage spell was used in the core, but in these last two examples the rage spell has been used once the queen was occupied by the lava hound, so just something to bear in mind there. But as soon as that eagle artillery goes down, you can start bringing in your remaining troops. So the Golem, followed by the Witches and the Grand Warden, started coming straight through the centre to form the main part of this attack. So again, the principles of the attack remain the same, but there are slight differences. So in this one, the attacker decided to bring a freeze spell to help his witches and skeletons get through that multi-inferno. Also had an extra rage spell there to help push them on into that core of the base. But similar to the last one, the large compartment with the remaining defences here on the back end of the base is going to be taken care of by opening that up with a few wall breakers, bringing in a golem to absorb some of the damage, and then the king followed by a couple of wizards. So again, looking at the 3-pronged attack, we have the king on the bottom left here taking out that back end. We have the Grand Warden with the remaining witches taking out the core and then trying to get out to help. And we also have the queen with the healers on the right hand side. Also, we have a couple of balloons left, not that useful in this raid, but you did see in the first example how they can be used for distraction on the back end. And that is how to 3-star a Town Hall 11 utilising the Queen Walk within the GoWiWi style attack. So the Queen Walk is initially used to get the Eagle Artillery. You're carving paths within the base using wall breakers and earthquake spells where you can have 3 different channels of attack. So once you've taken care of the Eagle Artillery, and if you can, the Clan Castle with your Queen, you can bring the main force of your attack, which is going to be a Golem, a lot of Witches, and the Grand Warden through the centre. You then have your King with a couple of Wizards, a Golem if needed, on one side, and your Queen will continue to have the healers on the other side. That's your 3-channeled attack. As you've saw, you will be able to change up spells to best suit the base design. Nice open bases with single infernos are definitely preferred for this strategy, but you can certainly adapt it if this isn't the case. Now, if the Queen Walk does happen to get nerfed in one of the upcoming updates, what you can do is still use this 3-pronged attack, but spread your witches out evenly across the side where your 3 entry points are. So I hope that video was helpful for you guys. I've been your host Judo Sloth. Make sure to subscribe for more Clash of Clans, and until next time, peace out guys. Stay tuned for more Clash of Clans.